Hey guys, if you're having trouble attracting the right clients, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to build a solid portfolio so that you can find your ideal clients and start getting those bookings. Okay. I see this all the time where you've got these talented photographers who have, just beautiful work, but their portfolios just aren't bringing those clients in. And this is what we're going to address in this particular video. Let's start with a few common issues that I've seen where people have trouble making their portfolio work for them. And some of the common issues I'm going to list right here. All right. So the number one is a lack of focus. Okay. Now, if your portfolio includes just like everything, like wedding photography, landscapes, sports, uh, pet photography, people are going to get confused. I mean, you've got to focus in on the types of images that a particular client is looking for. And if you're sending them there, then, the idea is that you're sending people there for a reason, for the type of photography. Like you probably have a specific type of photography that you'd like to do commercially. So you're trying to attract that type of client to your website or to your portfolio, even if it's just something on a, social media platform like Instagram. You're trying to get those people's eyes there and you want them to see something that's going to make sense to them, right? So you don't want to throw everything, the kitchen sink at that portfolio, that little, gallery that you're showing them. You don't want to confuse them. Another area of confusion can be your navigation, just the way that your website is set up. If you're, presenting your portfolio on a website, you don't want to make it hard for that potential client to, even find your best pictures, okay? Let alone how to get around your website and then figure out how to contact you. So you don't want to confuse them with your navigation. Make sure that you're on point with that. And I know that when you're building out a website, sometimes, you get so deep into it and so familiar with what you're doing that you kind of forget that somebody, a new set of eyes or a first time visitor is just not sometimes just not going to be able to make sense of it. Now, this may sound a little obvious, but you don't want to put low quality images into your portfolio. Okay. I know there's this temptation to just, especially if you don't have a lot of work to show, there's this temptation to, bring in quantity. You bring in 10% that really isn't so good. That's probably what people are going to remember, unfortunately. It's those lower quality images or maybe mediocre images. That's what's going to make people kind of second guess your work. Okay. So then they're just going to move on. And finally, kind of related to the, confusing navigation thing, having no clear call to action, even if you're on a platform like Instagram or Facebook, something that's not specifically designed like a commercial website and portfolio. You really need to let people know that, hey, you're available. Okay. So, that they should contact you. So lots of times people think, hey, if I show my work, people just ask. No, you've got to let them know you're available. Maybe even spark that idea that, hey, maybe I should get this person to take some pictures of me. On your website, if you don't, explicitly say what area that you work out of and what areas that you serve in terms of location, that's not going to help. You need to you need to make things simple, basically. All right. Make it simple for someone to understand what you do, how to get a hold of you, what areas you serve, things like that. This is actually something that we help members with inside the Portrait Club. Let's just go over here into the classroom now. We've got different courses and stuff, but building a portfolio is something that we do focus on. And in here you can find lots of good advice about portfolio building and finding models. I mean, we just get into all of it here inside the course. So that's something that you should check out. It's the Portrait Club. There's a link below. Okay, so how are we going to fix some of these things? I've broken it down into 3 easy steps that should sort of encompass the fix for all of these problems. All right. So step 1, decide who your ideal clients are. All right. Think about who you want to work with, what kind of portraits that you want to shoot, and who is actually going to value that type of work the most. All right. So that is your audience. That's your ideal client. Once you know who this person is, you've got sort of an idea of what marketers call an avatar. You can speak to them through your images. Okay. So this is why you don't want to show a bunch of stuff that doesn't apply. You might have, say, a wedding portfolio, and you might have a boudoir portfolio. You might have like a kids sports photography portfolio. Keep them separate so that people who are looking for that kind of thing are going to find you, and then they're going to find those types of pictures. I know that there are times when you might uh, be under the umbrella of like family photography or something like that, and you can have different galleries showing these things. Just don't mix in a lot of stuff that's more meaningful to you than it is to the potential client. Just because you've got some favorites doesn't mean that they're all that uh, great or meaningful to the client, right? You want to appeal to the client. This is marketing, after all. If you're purely an art photographer, of course, just about anything goes. But, we're talking about portrait photography. You really want to show work that's relevant to the client. And that leads us to step 2, curate your portfolio with your customers in mind. Show only the kind of images that are going to appeal to that customer, to that audience, to that avatar. Again, just because you've got a lot of your own favorites and, they're meaningful to you, it doesn't mean that they're going to be meaningful to that potential client. So show what's going to sell to that client. Okay. Show what's going to make sense, what's relevant to them. And you'll be much better off going that way. Step 3, keep it simple and clear. Make sure your visitors can easily find what they need. That goes back to that you don't want to confuse with the navigation, and you want to have a clear call to action. Look, in marketing, and this is what this is, because we're not talking about art photography. We're not talking about hobby photography. In this context, we're talking about selling to clients. We're talking about getting bookings. You want to make things really simple. You don't want to insinuate. You don't want to make people have to jump through hoops or think about anything. Make it simple, make it clear, have clear call to actions. Maybe, if nothing else, a button that they can click that pops up an email or something like that, or maybe goes to a form page, something easy that they can read that says book your session or get in touch. And then maybe it takes them to a page with a little simple form. Don't give them this giant questionnaire. I know a lot of people want to pre-qualify their, the contacts that come in. And in some cases that may be appropriate. I mean, if you're talking about wedding photography or something that this really makes sense for, that you should have some information to work with before you even contact a customer. So you want to be prepared when you contact them. But generally speaking, just try to keep that stuff short. Get that initial contact first, and then start a dialogue. And that's where, the selling happens. They get to know you as a person, you get to know them, and you guys figure out if you want to work together. Now, when you put all of this stuff together, this is what's going to make your portfolio finally work for you instead of against you. Keep it simple, only relevant work. Make sure that people know what locations you serve, how to get a hold of you, and exactly what you can do for them. Now, if you want to get even deeper into the specifics and the steps for how to build a successful portfolio, you can join me in the Portrait Club. Inside, we have lots of courses as far as lighting goes, as far as portrait business tips and advice. We even cover boudoir and different types of portraiture like that. We've got a positive, supportive community, and I'm in there every day to help you out with just advice or feedback. If you want me to take a look at your portfolio, that is a great place to get that done. Like I said, I'm in there every day. Go ahead and check it out. The link is below. Hey guys, that's about all I've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you found it useful. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll see you next time.